Hey guys, it's Karl. So if you recall, not too long ago, I was at WWDC and was one of the first in the world to try on Apple Vision Pro, Apple's augmented reality headset. $3,500, and I know that the biggest reaction was obviously the price point.
It will be available.
I can't think of too many people that can easily splurge that kind of money for a headset. So I actually have something really cool here that is a 1/10 of the price. This is the XReal Air, and it sells for $379. So obviously the value is there, and it still has some pretty decent tech built in as well. And I've been using it for the past week just to kind of go through my regular workflow and see what this headset, almost not even headset. Like when I wear this looks like a pair of shades that I could just rock normally. So it isn't too big, it isn't too bulky, it doesn't look like you're wearing, this ridiculous augmented reality headset. You could like get by, obviously it's a bit thicker, but to pass off as a pair of shades. So to the actual tech on the inside, it's rocking 2 micro OLED panels. They can get all the way from 130 to 201 inches. It's got a high refresh rate. And other than the $3,500 Pro Vision AR headset that I've tried, these are by far the clearest AR glasses that I've used, which actually says quite a lot. I've tested out a bunch, and especially for the price point, it's pretty impressive. They're just under 80 grams, so super lightweight. You could actually rock them, like I said, like sunglasses. And when I initially unboxed these, it comes in pretty minimal packaging. So obviously you've got the glasses, you've got 2 extra little nose nubs for obviously your nose, USB-C cable, nice little carrying pouch, and a pair of blinders, which I'll get to in a second, and of course the shades themselves. So they technically work a bit differently because they're so light. They don't have any actual hardware inside, so you can't use them on their own. You'll have to plug it in to a device. And since this is now enabled across the entire MacBook line, so whether you have an M1, M2 chip, or even Intel-based MacBook, it's pretty much instant plug and play. It'll launch the Nebula app for Mac, and then from there you can download the latest firmware. And then from there you can pretty much launch the experience in AR. So there's a couple different options, and in my workflow, I'll kind of go through each of the different ones. So once this is kind of on, you have the option to either view in 1, 2, or 3 screens, and then you can toggle the range of how large the image you want. So that ranges from that 130 all the way up to 201 inches. And now since this is plugged on and fully working, there's no technically other hardware that you need. There's no weird little power bank or power pack that Vision Pro has, and it's just plugged in with the one USB-C cable. So now imagine a typical use case. You would have your MacBook, depending on what size you have, so anywhere from 13 to 16 inches, and you want a larger display. So instead of spending $5,000 to $6,000 on a Pro Display XDR, even a studio display, you can have the comfort of having a larger display with these little guys. If you're someone that loves to get work done in coffee shops, you travel a lot, instead of bringing, once again, an external monitor around, which can get pretty big, pretty bulky, you can just have this in your back pocket or in your bag, whip these out when you're at said coffee shop, and now you have 201 inches if you want of working space. And because of the larger form factor, you can get multiple screens, like I said, up to 3, or you can just choose to minimize things on your desktop and you can have things open like Final Cut, like Photoshop, whatever your workflow kind of dictates. Typically for me, when I multitask, I like to have, say, like a YouTube video on one side, maybe my calendar, obviously Outlook for all of my emails, maybe I'm watching stocks on the side, and all of those 4 screens are kind of interacting with each other. I'm kind of glancing around. I can have all of that kind of in front of my face. And then when I want to dial down into, say, a Final Cut edit, this is now nice and clear. Like I said, 201 inches of full display to use, and I'm still using my normal hardware from my MacBook, so say my trackpad, my keyboard, or even an external mouse. All of that works together with the XReal. I was editing a couple pictures on Photoshop the other day. For example, I had a couple pics of my car at the Sweet Porsche event, and now I can punch in nice and tight and do all of my edits without having to squint or look too tightly. Great if I want to, say, do little spot heel edits, if I'm trying to remove any weird things going on my face. However you end up editing kind of works for you. Another great use case for this, since I think a lot of you know I'm currently building a house right now, so you can actually look at my 3D model through SketchUp. nice and large, and I can really get into some of the intricacies and look at some places that need some extra work. And then I actually switch from this into some footage that we took from the house, and then it's nice to kind of compare the model to what's actually happening in reality, all obviously in 201 inches. For all you gamers out there, I know that Apple Arcade is getting a lot better. Once again, squinting at a smaller 13, 14, 15-inch display just doesn't cut it, having something larger. So I've been crushing a few new games on here. Obviously, these are all great games that I can just pick up and play quickly and then just get my daily gaming fix on. And last but not least, where this has really shined and really changed my experience is obviously watching content. Having a large display like this has kind of been a game changer. So that's actually when I've used this little cover shade when I kind of want to get out of augmented reality, because when you're technically looking through these glasses, everything is still kind of semi-transparent. You can see what's happening behind them. With this little cheap shade, essentially what you're doing is just creating a bit of a blackout. All of that actual reality, what you see is kind of blacked out, and then you get to immerse yourself in that experience. And there's actually a cool spatial cinema feature where you can actually watch a 3D movie. So obviously that's hard for me to share that experience, what I'm viewing with through the headset, but definitely a 3D movie on glasses as affordable as these is truly pretty cool. And because these AR glasses are plugged in, you can still choose to receive audio from your MacBook or any device that it's plugged into. Or if you're, say, at that coffee shop, if you're somewhere a bit busier, if you want to have some privacy, there are built-in speakers into this. Just kind of keep note that if you kind of max out the volume all the way, people around you, close to you, can still probably hear that. So just kind of keep that to the mid to low range, and then you'll be able to listen to whatever you want. So in all, a pretty solid AR experience. And I'm someone that's always a bit skeptical about augmented reality, but in this kind of streamlined form factor, obviously the price is what's really attractive right now. $379, and XReal has already shipped out 150,000 of these units. So of course I will leave links down below if you're interested. Let me know your thoughts on AR. Are you sold? Are you someone that's still like on the fence? I know that it does take a bit of time to get used to, but in this small profile, definitely worth checking out. I'll catch the rest of you in one of my next vids. Peace.